What's up, fellow go-givers? Juwan Beautiful Broadcasting here, and what I want to talk about is a conversation I had with someone who's really close to me a couple weeks before the end of the new year. And the question he basically asked me was, look, what do you do to level up? Like, what are the four things that you would encourage me to do that I can control that'll make my life better in 2024? And then I received a notification right before the end of the new year from someone on TikTok and someone else from another social media platform. It was really surprising to me. It was a reminder that people are always watching, even if you don't think they're watching. Whether you have 5 followers, 20 followers, 20,000 followers, whether you have 200,000 followers, people are always watching and observing. And they pretty much asked me the same thing. So I said, you know what? Here we go. Let's go ahead and do it. So, what do you do to get your frame right in 2024 to level up, right? Not simply 2x your success, but 10x your success, right? And the top three things I encourage everyone to take aim at, including myself, is number one, take an inventory of the people who are around you. You know, I've heard it said time and time again, if you hang around 6 cursing cousins, you'll become the 7th. You show me the 6 or 7 people whom you interact with the most, and I'll show you a future, right? And so take inventory. And I know there's this thing out there where people say you have to prune the people around you, but I'll tell you my experience has been. Every time I've leveled up, became more influential, started to operate in a different space socioeconomically, every time I've had success where I've made leaps, right, in terms of my growth, prosperity, or my ability to grow and endeavor, usually I haven't had to work that hard to prune the people around me. They typically prune themselves. The bottom line is majority of people who are around you right now are in love with a static you. But if you are growing, if you're learning, if you're becoming more influential, earning more, having greater responsibility, 9 times out of 10, you're becoming a different person. Not 9 times out of 10, you are becoming a different person. You start moving differently. Your appetite changes for things. Where you show up changes. The things that you take an interest in changes, because in order for you to reach a different place than where you're at today, you're gonna have to become a different you. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And so as you do different, you become different. And so a lot of times you don't have to spend too much time pruning people. They will prune themselves. You'll stop getting invited to certain things. People will stop having certain conversations with you because you're not receptive to them. People will move on to birds that, they say birds of feather flock together. You're no longer wearing those same feathers. So they're going to find other birds that they feel more comfortable with. And that's just the reality matter. It's inevitable. But yeah, be very, very, very savage in terms of the voices you're listening to. If people are not breathing life into your business, if people are not breathing life into your dreams, and look, when I say breathe life, it doesn't mean just be all out cotton candy supportive. I mean, a little bit of criticism, people questioning you a little bit, challenging you to think a little bit more objectively about what it is you're taking aim at is very important. But you get my point, right? Don't let haters, don't let people who are dissuading you, as opposed to talking about how to get to a given goal, don't spend too much time with them. And that will 10x your growth big time. All right. Next up, be cognizant of the spaces that you're sitting in. Be cognizant of the spaces that you're participating in. If you are the alpha, if you're the number one in the space that you're in, it's time to switch up. It's time to switch up. You need to be in spaces with people who are performing better than you, have more than you, are achieving more so than you are, right? Iron sharpens iron. Not really. Sharp iron sharpens iron, right? You want to get around sharp iron. Get around spaces that edify you. I mean, you could be the most talented, hardworking person on the face of the planet, but if you are planting seeds in soil that isn't fertile, you're just not going to grow. And that's just the reality of the matter is you have to get around in spaces that feed you, that edify you, that focuses your attention on the right things. And a lot of times that has to do with what? The people you hang around. It's just so absolutely important. And also, keep in mind, when we say spaces, we're not just talking about literally, we're also talking about figuratively as well. Like there is a couple spaces within the B2B market that I'm going to start jumping into that I'm not comfortable with. I've never been a quote unquote marketer, right? I've never been quote unquote a social media influencer. Graphic design, all that stuff's not been my forte. I've always been that guy where you give me an assignment, you give me a task, and I put my head down and I get to work. I just make it happen, right? I love to make things better than what they were before I find them. And I usually don't go about the process of promoting my feeds, but I have receipts. And it's time I learned how to promote those receipts. It's time I learned how to market more effectively. I'm going to spend a little bit more time around people who are in marketing. I'm going to spend a little more time understanding marketing. I don't expect to become a master of it. Eventually, I'm going to have to pay someone to do it for me. But walking around ignorant in that space in terms of how to really go out and promote a business, I got to address that. And so in 2024, that's what it's all about. Where I've grown from a team of me to a team of we. The next step is to market our receipts and the success stories that we're creating. And so also figuratively and literally, you want to be about that life, man. Even if it's something as simple as, look, the real estate market is starting to tick up a little bit because the interest rates have just dropped. And so you're gonna have a lot of more real estate agents doing tours. Next time you find out about a tour in an A+A neighborhood, I mean, neighborhood with homes that have 500,000 homes in it, $500,000 homes in it, $1 million homes in it, I want you to take that tour. I want you to walk around that residence. I want you to see how people are living. And I want you to come home. Look, I can tell you one of the best things that ever happened to me was taking a trip to Maui a little over a year ago, where I was sitting around multimillionaires, not just in my crew, in my cadre, or in the company I was affiliated with, but literally just sitting around with multimillionaires from every type of industry and walk of life, and just seeing how they really weren't all that more talented. And there were some that were, but more talented or more gifted or more intelligent, at least in a way that most people think about intelligence, right? Just seeing that they were everyday people. And that the biggest difference between where I was at and where they were at was just simply behaviors and decisions. That was mind blowing. It put me on a totally different course in my life. It was one of the most important things I ever did. That's how important it is to get in certain spaces. Um, if you have to pay to be involved in an organization, pay to start attending certain types of events and seminars, assuming that you're surrounding yourself with doers, right? There's a lot of gurus out there. I'm talking about doers, people who actually have a track record of building businesses. Put yourself in those spaces. It's invaluable. It's absolutely invaluable. So, yeah, make sure you put yourself in the right spaces. And that could be Zoom too. I'm a firm believer in eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly, handshake interactions. But hey, sometimes you got to do what you have to do. If it means you have to participate in virtual events, do that too. But put your mind, put your body in different spaces, right? Where the environment forces you to level up. All right. Next, bad in, bad out, good in, good out. Man, you got to make sure you are very, very aware of what you're putting into your mind. If you are spending hours and hours on social media entertaining yourself, as opposed to spending hours and hours learning about new skills, insights, picking up new techniques, strategies, whatever the case may be, from individuals who are actually succeeding and building the things that you want to build, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. Game recognizes game. I cannot tell you how many times I have onboarded clients or recruited partners based on a book that I had sitting in front of me, or based on a conversation I just had because of a webcast that I was listening to that I found particularly enlightening and stimulating. I saved it and I shared it with somebody else. Game recognizes game. You have to put good in you, right? So if you are listening to music, if you are listening to things that are negative or pejorative or nihilistic, things that really don't make you a better you, you have to guard the gates. You have to be savage about it. It's not about just the people that you have around you. It's about you. And you're choosing to either grow or to die. There's no in between. You either get busy living or you get busy dying. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that, are you growing yourself? Don't let ego get in the way. The reason why most people don't learn is not because there's not opportunities around them or people around them or books around them, right? This internet age, you can get access to just about anything. It's the ego. It's the ego. And if nothing else, if you don't understand this, you're going to be in trouble. Because the bottom line is, just like in sports, there's someone's always practicing, always working on their craft to get better at what it is they do. Don't get it twisted. Entrepreneurship is blood sport. It's competition. And there's someone competing for the disposable income, the households, the individuals, the attention of those who you need to build your business. And if you're not getting better at your game, if you're not putting in positivity, if you're not learning certain skills and developing certain knowledge stacks and experience stacks, you're only going to stay on top for so long. Okay. You have to find a way to continually work on staying elite. And then that kind of leads into the last thing that I think everyone can do. And certainly I'm going to spend more time on, and it kind of bleeds into what I'm getting ready to share, what I've said previously. And that is, you have to spend time making yourself more valuable. You don't have a choice. Every single day, find ways to make yourself more valuable. Instead of spending time looking for ways to do the things that you enjoy, make time to make yourself more valuable every single day. And however you do it, whether it's podcasts, once again, whether it's events, whether it's meeting with individuals and taking them out to lunch, that's something you need to be working on a daily basis. Find a way to get 1% better every single week. You don't need to get 100% better in one day. 1% better a week, trust me, will change your life dramatically. 1% better over the course of a year weekly is 52%. If you get 52% better at anything, I don't care if it's washing dishes or basket weaving, trust me, you're going to be highly effective. You're definitely going to be more elite than most individuals because most people don't take the time to do this. I want you to think about it like this. You have attorneys, you have, I don't know, real estate agents who've perfected their craft. You have investment advisors, stockbrokers. You have people who are financiers. You have entrepreneurs and just people, professionals in general, who are knocking down 6 figures plus, right? And know that many of them went to school an additional 3, 5, 10 plus years to get to the point where they can demand the type of compensation that many entrepreneurs oftentimes are desirous of, right? Same thing with athletes. Don't get it twisted. Just because you see an athlete earning 20, 30 million, you weren't in a gym willing to shoot that ball 10,000 times, willing to perform that layup drill 10,000 times, willing to wake up at 5 a.m., work out 3 times a day, eat and do whatever it is you have to do to become elite at what it is you do. If you're on that NBA court, if you're on NFL, if you're on that football field, if you're in that boxing ring, you are elite. You are better than 98% of the entire world's population at what it is that you do. They paid a price. You'll hear doctors sometimes, and even sometimes attorneys refer to their business as practices, right? Because they know they're in practice. They're in the process of getting better, right? Every single day. You have to think about your development and growth as an entrepreneur in very much the same way. The bottom line is you need to be in practice. You need to be willing to put in the 3, 5, 10 years of necessary to become truly elite at what it is that you do, whether it's part-time, spare time, or full-time. That Malcolm Gladwell book that talks about the idea of putting in 10,000 hours is a real thing. You have to be willing to put in the hours in order to learn and grow, to become worthy of the type of income that you're looking to pursue. It's just amazing to me. Entrepreneurs will join a business and think money's going to fall from the sky like manna. No, you got to put in the same amount of work. This isn't a game. This isn't Monopoly or Scrabble or Uno or whatever it is you're out there playing. If you're not scamming, you're going to pay your dues in order to have success. Not necessarily because you're looking to pay your dues to a specific group of individuals, but pay your dues in terms of becoming the elite experience that you want people to have that they'll be willing to pay for, right? No one pays 5-star prices for a cheap hamburger at White Castle. Okay, they don't do it. It's for a reason. Okay, if you don't want to be spam out here, you have to be willing to become the type of person, you have to provide the type of value proposition that people are willing to pay 5-star prices for. And that just takes time. It takes time to build those knowledge, those skill stacks, those experience stacks, those talent stacks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and to build the relationships. And this is the one thing I'll leave you with, right, in terms of becoming more valuable and being willing to give it time. I remember when I started out my entrepreneur journey almost 20 years ago, right? And I remember like busting my ass for like 2 years straight. And I remember having sit downs with individuals whom I knew respected me, whom I knew even trusted me, but they wouldn't do business with me. And I remember it was about my second or maybe third year in. This is at the time when I was building as an investment advisor. And I remember my second and a half, maybe third year in, a lot of the dominoes started to drop. And one day I asked one of the individuals who had known me for a couple of years, saw my growth, saw my trials and tribulations, saw my struggling, saw everything I was doing. And I finally asked him, I said, look, what are you doing? What changed? Why did you finally decide to do business with me? And he basically said, Juwan, I was watching you. I wanted to see if you were committed to your craft. I wanted to see whether or not you would last longer than a year, because so often people jump into endeavors and they're done in less than 3 to 6 months. right? They're not willing to pay the price. They're not willing to learn what they need to learn and practice what they need to practice. And he pretty much said to me, I was watching to see whether or not this was a gimmick or a game, or whether or not you were really committed to becoming the person you need to become to really be of service to people out here. And this is why I finally decided to do business with you. And I can tell you 50% of the clients I took on my second and third year was for that reason alone. Like the relative level of intellect didn't change. Yeah, I improved in terms of experience. Yeah, I improved in terms of talent and know-how and skill. But anyone who was observing me knew that was just inevitable, and that I was going to do the best job that I could possibly do, which was going to be better than 90% of people out there who could give a rat's ass, right? They were looking to see whether or not I was really committed. And I can tell you, people are watching you. They're observing you to see if you're really committed. And if you are able to stay around long enough, stay strong long enough, stay committed long enough, go strong, become stronger, go further, go harder than the next person long enough, a lot of times success as an entrepreneur, it's just a matter of attrition. It's about who's standing last. And so over that process, be okay with just getting a small percent better on a weekly or monthly or yearly basis. And I'm telling you, over the course of the next couple of years, you are going to see some dramatic changes in your business. And it doesn't have to take 3 to 5 years, right? You turn up the volume on these things, it can happen for you in 3 to 6 months or a year. If you want to slow poke this thing, maybe it takes you a year or two. But just give yourself the time to mature. Give yourself the time to cook. So, with that being said, look, I trust that everyone's going to have a fantastic 2024. I'm about this life. If you like the information that I just shared or perspective, man, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share button. Sharing is caring. And I celebrate your success in advance of 2024. Goodbye for now.